Hi, I'm Megan and welcome to my kitchen. In today's What's for Dinner video, I'll be sharing with you what meals we had this past week. Our dinners were easy to make, budget friendly, and delicious. So if you're looking for some weeknight meal ideas for your family, just keep watching. For dinner this first night, we did homemade hibachi. I'm going to start out by making a homemade yum yum sauce. I have kind of taken bits and pieces of different recipes, and for my own recipe, which I'll type out the measurements in the description box below for you, but absolutely adjust this to your taste. Now, here are the ingredients that I'm going to use. I've got mayonnaise, ketchup, sugar, some melted butter, paprika, garlic powder, and a tiny bit of cayenne pepper. So we're going to mix everything together, and this is the absolute most important thing with this recipe. You can tweak the sugar, the ketchup, the seasonings, but you absolutely have to make this a few hours in advance. The first time I made homemade yum yum sauce, I tasted it right after I made it, and I was like, what is this? This does not taste like yum yum sauce. But I was, went with the recipe and made it beforehand, and then right before serving, I gave it another taste, and I was like, okay, that's it. So this absolutely has to have time to come together. So definitely plan a little bit ahead, make this a few hours or even the day before, and this will keep for several days in your refrigerator. And a quick note, I forgot to mention, but I like to loosen this up with a couple tablespoons of water. Okay, now for homemade hibachi, I've shared this before on my channel. Making your own hibachi at home isn't necessarily that hard, but there's kind of a lot going on, and it's kind of a lot to manage at once. So it really does help to get everything set up, mise en place, get everything prepared, everything ready to go, so that once you start on the hibachi, it's a lot easier. It's a lot less stressful doing it that way. Now, I'm going to do this outside on our little black stone grill, but I have done this inside before, just with a couple different skillets, or inside using like one of the electric skillets or griddles. However you want to make this, use whatever you've got. So here's everything that I'm using. In the back for veggies, I've got sliced mushrooms, onions, and broccoli. Use whatever veggies you like. For the meat, I had some chicken and shrimp in my freezer. I cubed up the chicken, and then I got just a little cheapy steak at Food Lion and cut that up. Again, use whatever different meats you want. I have some teriyaki sauce, some oil, and a little bit of water. Those are what's in those squeeze bottles. Here for the fried rice, I've got some leftover cooked white rice, some frozen peas and carrots, soy sauce, some diced onions, a couple eggs, salt and pepper, and then butter. I've got plant butter. Use whatever you prefer. That's just what I got on hand. All right, here on my black stone on the right hand side, I've got my veggies sauteing in a little bit of oil. After I give them a stir, season them with salt and pepper, I'm going to put just a little bit of water on them, cover them with a dome lid, and just cook them until they are tender and golden brown. Here, the rice was super cold. I should have set it out a little bit earlier, but that's okay. I'm just going to cook the rice for maybe about 5 to 7 minutes until it starts to get golden brown. Add in some soy sauce, salt, pepper, and a little bit of butter, and then add in the eggs. Give those a scramble, mix that up with the rice and then the veggies, and yeah, once it's brown and crispy to your liking, the rice is done. Now, I cook all of my meats the exact same way. I just, of course, change the cooking time. The shrimp cook a lot faster than the chicken. So I start out with the chicken. It cooks the longest. I just add the meat to the grill, season it with some salt and pepper. Once it gets seared nice and brown, I then add in a little bit of soy sauce, some teriyaki sauce, and a little pat of butter. Give that a mix. Again, you just want to make sure the chicken is cooked all the way through. But once it's golden brown and cooked all the way through, it's done. You can set it to the side. Steak, like I said, cook it just like the chicken. Just salt, pepper, oil until it is brown, and then mix in some teriyaki and soy sauce. And then, yeah, the shrimp did that the exact same way. And this is how the meat looks when it's done. These are the finished vegetables, and then we've got the fried rice. Here are the plates. So we've got some of the meat, the vegetables, and the rice with the yum yum sauce. This was absolutely delicious. We have been craving hibachi for so long, and it is so expensive to eat out. But making it at home, like I said, it wasn't hard. It's just, you kind of got to plan a little bit, but it is absolutely delicious. For dinner the next night, I did grilled barbecue Italian chicken. This recipe is from the Plain Chicken. I'll link it down below. Here's what I'm going to use to make it. I've got some chicken breasts. You could also use chicken thighs if you wanted to. And then some barbecue sauce. You can use your favorite bottle. This is the leftover of my homemade barbecue sauce. I'll put that video down in the description box below for you. And then you need some bottled Italian dressing. You basically just mix equal parts of barbecue sauce and the Italian dressing, add it to a Ziploc bag along with your chicken, and marinate it for a few hours up to overnight. You can cook it in the oven, on top of the stove, in the air fryer, grill it. I use my little indoor Cuisinart grill and just cook it until the chicken is done all the way through, and then we're going to let it rest. Here's the finished chicken, and while it was grilling, I used some of this Kinder's roast chicken with garlic and herbs on both sides of the chicken. Now, for the sides, keeping it super simple, I've got this Tuscan seasoned broccoli in my freezer, so I just cooked that up in the microwave, and then I have these frozen potato wedges. I got these at Target. I cooked them up in the air fryer. I think I did 400 degrees for like maybe 15 minutes until they were golden brown. And then kind of last minute, I decided to do like a quick caprese salad. I found this sliced mozzarella on markdown at Food Lion, and I've got some sliced tomatoes, some fresh basil, a little bit of olive oil, and some of this balsamic glaze. To assemble it, I just alternated the sliced tomatoes with the fresh mozzarella and then added a drizzle of olive oil, the balsamic glaze, some of that sea salt, and then some fresh chopped basil. Here are the plates. I went ahead and sliced up the chicken for us. We've got the potatoes, the broccoli, the caprese, and then I wanted to dip my chicken in honey mustard. Gary wanted to dip his in barbecue sauce, so we've got that. And we liked this chicken. It was really good. I would definitely use that little barbecue Italian dressing marinade again. For dinner the next night, we both had leftover hibachi. The next day was Memorial Day, and so we grilled out hamburgers and hot dogs. I'm going to start out by making some baked beans. I did not follow a recipe for this. In this skillet, I've got some ground beef that I cooked up with some diced onions with a little salt and pepper. And then I'm adding in a can of baked beans. This is just a 28 ounce. I think it's the Walmart brand, maple brown sugar flavored. I'm going to add in a little bit of ketchup, followed by yellow mustard. This is optional, but I'm going to add in just a couple drops of liquid smoke. Go easy with this. Just a couple drops is all it needs. I'm going to add in a few dashes of Worcestershire sauce, followed by a little barbecue sauce. Next, I'm going to add in some brown sugar, and then sometimes I add in molasses. Today, I just didn't feel like it, and the brown sugar has a little molasses in it anyway. I'm going to add in some salt and pepper, and then my homemade barbecue rub. Again, the video for that will be linked in the description box below. I'm going to give that a really, really good mix, combine it really well, and I probably should have went with a little bigger skillet, but I made it work. Now, I had just a couple slices of the pre-cooked bacon in my fridge I needed to use up, so I'm going to top the beans with that. I covered this with aluminum foil and baked it for about 45 minutes at 350 degrees. For another side, I have this Suddenly pasta salad kit, the ranch and bacon. This was in my pantry I needed to use up. So I'm going to cook that up according to the package instructions. You need mayonnaise for the box instructions. You can just use what's in the box. It comes with like some bacon bits and peas and maybe some little carrots or something. But I'm also going to add in some diced cucumber and tomato. And you can add whatever veggies to this. You can add cheese. You can add some more bacon, whatever you want. And then I did some corn on the cob. I did it in the air fryer. I just peeled off the husks, got rid of the silks, washed it, patted it dry, rubbed it with some olive oil, salt, and pepper, cooked it in the air fryer at 390 degrees for about 12 minutes. I did turn it halfway. I grilled up some hamburgers and hot dogs. I just took some frozen hamburger patties. That's what I had on hand. Seasoned both sides with some of the Steak and Shake seasoning and then grilled them until they were done to our liking. The last minute or two, I did brush them on both sides with a little bit of barbecue sauce, and then I topped a couple with some sliced American cheese. For the hot dogs, same thing with the hamburgers, just grilled them, and then the last minute or two brushed them on all sides with some barbecue sauce, and the barbecue sauce gets caramelized and sticky, and oh my gosh, this is absolutely a family favorite. I have a separate video on the barbecue hot dogs, but it's really not a recipe. I just told you how to make it. But we make these all the time. They are so delicious. Here's what I set out for our burgers and hot dogs. I've got some lettuce, tomato, pickle slices, mayonnaise, relish. This Wickles relish, if y'all haven't tried it before, it's really good. All the Wickles things that we've tried. Gary loves their pickled okra, pickled beets, So yeah, if you see that, pick it up. It's good. Got some mustard, ketchup, and then barbecue sauce. We got this at Buc-ee's the last time we were there, and I like it. It's sweet. It's got a little kick to it. It's not hot, but it's got just a tiny little kick to it. All right, here is a picture of my plate. I forgot to get a picture of Gary's plate. He basically had the same thing, except he didn't eat the beans, and he ate his hot dog on a bun with some ketchup, mustard, and relish, and this was delicious. And if you all celebrate Memorial Day, I hope that you had a fun Memorial Day. For dinner the next day, Gary wasn't really feeling well. He had actually went and laid down during dinner time, and so I had some bacon in my fridge I needed to use up, and so I decided to make myself a BLT. I just baked up the bacon, put it on a baking sheet, pop it into a cold oven, set it at 400 degrees, and cook it for about 20 minutes until it's crispy to our liking. And then here's how we like to make our BLT. So I like just plain white bread. Gary likes his bread toasted. I do not. And then I add some mayonnaise and just a tiny little bit of barbecue sauce. If you've never tried this, give it a try. The barbecue sauce, the sweetness and smokiness really goes well with the bacon. You can add lettuce if you want to. Gary loves lettuce on his. Usually I don't eat it, and it wasn't washed, and I didn't feel like washing it anyway. And like I said, I normally don't eat it, but you can add it if you want to. And then a slice of tomato with salt and pepper. You got to salt and pepper your tomato. And then on the side, I'm just going to do some carrot sticks and broccoli, and then some grapes on the side. Here's my plate. I've got my BLT, my veggies, my grapes, and some ranch for dipping the veggies, and this was yummy. For dinner the next night, I tried a new recipe for a creamy mozzarella pasta. I am going to start on the side dish though. It is lemon, garlic, and Parmesan roasted broccoli and carrots. It's kind of a mouthful, but this was delicious. I loved this side dish. I don't know why. It's really simple, but it was so good. I'll definitely make this again. I'll have the recipe linked in the description box below for you. I've got my oven preheating to 425 degrees. The recipe, I believe, said 450, but I cut it down to 425. I have some broccoli florets and then just some whole carrots. I just cut them down to where they were similar sizes to where they would cook evenly. I'm going to add some olive oil, salt and pepper, and then some minced garlic. I'm using the stuff from the jar. I'm going to give that a good toss and then pop this into the oven. And I baked this for about 20 minutes. I did toss it halfway through. You just want to cook these really until the carrots are tender. Now, we are going to add some grated Parmesan cheese. You could, of course, grate your own freshly, but I'm using this stuff from the jar. That's what I've got. Now, we're going to take some lemon zest and add that to the veggies, followed by some lemon juice, and then give it one last toss, and that's it. Like I said, so simple, but these were delicious. Now for the pasta. In this pot here, I just cooked up the pasta already, so that's why the pot looks kind of dirty, but it's fine. I've got this on about medium heat. I've added in some olive oil. I'm going to add in some sun-dried tomatoes. Mine were dry, but if you have the ones in oil, instead of the olive oil, you can use the oil from the sun-dried tomatoes. And then the recipe didn't call for mushrooms, but I had some that I needed to use up, so I'm going to add those in there along with some minced garlic, salt and pepper. Give that a stir and cook that for about 5 minutes. Now we're going to add in half and half and bring this to a simmer. And I was intrigued by this recipe because, I mean, homemade Alfredo is so delicious. It's so much better than the bottled stuff. I've shared that before on my channel. But it's heavy. You've got heavy cream and lots of Parmesan cheese, plus a good amount of butter. And so I was curious if this would work out with a half and half and mozzarella, and it did. It was actually really good. So as it's coming up to a little simmer, I'm going to add in my seasonings, which are some paprika, crushed red pepper flakes, salt, and pepper. I'm going to give that a stir, and then like I said, once it comes up to a simmer, you're going to add in your shredded mozzarella cheese. Now, I'm using the regular stuff, but you could use the low-fat mozzarella. I think that would work just fine in this as well. So it's a little bit lighter. I'm not saying healthy, y'all. It's still half and half and cheese, but a little bit lighter than an Alfredo. Now, this particular recipe called for you to sear scallops, which I had scallops in my freezer and I had thawed them, but they were not good. I could not use them. But luckily, I had this diced cooked chicken in my freezer, so I just pulled it out. You can use chicken with this. You just want to sear it or cook it separately, or you could do shrimp, or like the recipe called for, scallops, or really you could just leave out the proteins and make a vegetarian dish, maybe add in some spinach, zucchini, peppers. But yeah, you just stir the cheese in, and it takes just a minute or two to thicken up, and we're going to add in the cooked pasta. Give that a stir. You can add some of the leftover cooking water. That's what's in this little red cup. And then, yeah, that's done. I decided last minute I wanted some garlic bread. I didn't have any in the freezer, so I just used some hot dog buns, just added a little bit of butter, some garlic powder, parsley, and popped them into the air fryer at like 350 degrees for a few minutes until they were golden brown. Here are the plates. We've got the pasta. I garnished it with a little bit of fresh basil, and I also added in some chopped basil at the very end. We've got the veggies and the hot dog garlic bread, and this was yummy. We really enjoyed that pasta. Like I said, I'm not claiming it's healthy at all, but it's a lighter version, a little bit lighter, of an Alfredo sauce, not nearly as heavy, and it reheated really well, again, because you didn't have that butter and cream to separate. But yeah, it was really delicious. We really enjoyed it. And like I said, I loved the vegetables. That was dinner that night. And for the last dinner in this week's video, we just had leftover pasta. All right, that is it. I hope that you enjoyed this video and that you got some dinner ideas from it. If you did, hit the thumbs up button below and subscribe to my channel if you're not already. And I hope you have a great rest of the week. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.